All right, we got a tech expert on the line with us, Dave Maney, who's familiar to a lot of Fox Business viewers. Dave, thanks for making yourself available. What do you think of the news?
I think it's in some ways less surprising than it's made out to be. I mean, innovation in the technology world tends to be a step function, not a continuous one. And so that means it happens in fits and starts. And nowhere has that been more apparent over the last decade than in the mobile phone business, in the smartphone business. I mean, I was just talking the other day with somebody about the great fall of BlackBerry, right? Because they missed out on one of those step function innovations, and away they went. And we've reached a point now, as we do in almost all tech products, where the step functions are either smaller or the steps are virtually non-existent. And so the idea that there's a sexy product tomorrow or 6 months from now that's going to, again, kind of, inject turbo power into the company's sales is overly optimistic at best.
But, Dave, let me just ask, are you suggesting that what happened to BlackBerry could happen to Apple?
Do I think it could happen? Sure, I think it could happen. I mean, I think they're a lot better prepared and more diversified across the spectrum. But the nature of the technology business, disruption doesn't just happen to people outside the technology industry. It happens to companies inside it as well. It's a high risk, high reward business.
So, Dave, it seems as though people either own Samsung phones or Apple, and most people think it's just too much trouble to switch, which kind of guarantees that they've got a market for eventual upgrades. But it seems like that upgrade gets elongated unless they can really bring new hot stuff onto each new edition. And that, that seems to me to be what I thought happening. Is that your view, or am I wrong?
No, I think you're totally right. And by the way, I'm talking to you on an LG phone because to me, the commoditization has largely begun. Right. And so, yeah, I'm linked into the Google ecosystem through Android and all the parts of it. But, and yes, so Apple has some kind of grip on its customers. But the idea that you can't upend the platform at all. Go talk to my friend Jim Balsillie at BlackBerry and ask him what he thinks, who used to be at BlackBerry. And B, exactly what you said. Is it powerful enough to keep me on the treadmill of upgrade at the pace that the company and the street would like it to be? And the answer is probably not.
But, David, isn't all this about Steve Jobs? I mean, you talk about the disruption and the innovation. I completely agree with you, but there's only one Steve Jobs. I mean, maybe Elon Musk today might be comparable to that, maybe Thomas Edison, but you don't have a guy like Steve Jobs who's going to create something completely new like an iPad that everybody has to have. And Tim Cook, while a brilliant CEO who's running the most profitable company in the history of the world, there's not an innovator there like Steve Jobs. So this seems to be something that was a predicated outcome that eventually this has to slow.
There's an element of truth to that, and then the other piece that's an important part of that is what was happening to the technology cycles broadly underneath that. Because as you guys know, there was an era where Steve Jobs was no good for Apple, right? Where he got fired by the board. Yeah. So there were moments where the technology soup, where the primordial soup of technology was ready for the god of Jobs to come in and sort of knit the elements together. And then there were other moments when, conditions weren't right. And so I'm guessing right now in the smartphone world, it's not now. Not now. It's not going to happen.
Hey, Dave, it's Robert. Thanks for coming on short notice. We're down, 50% over the last year on this stock. Do you feel it's a buy time here, even though innovation may be slow just because their revenues are still so significant?
I'm not nearly as smart as any of you guys about the market itself, about the stocks and how the street views the companies. I mean, here's what I would tell you. The long-term picture is, this is a gigantic re-engineering of our entire economy powered by devices and information that flows out of devices like Apple makes and the way they participate in it. So have we reached the end of that innovation? No, I think we're 20% along that way. But who the winners and losers are in and among it, that's why they pay you guys the big bucks.
By the way, Dave, you mentioned the time when Steve Jobs lost his job. Of course, he came roaring back after the people that tried to follow him could not match his success, and then Apple took off. So I'm just I don't want to wish any harm on Tim Cook, but do you suppose that if things continue to go down as they look like they're going down now, somebody could say, gee, maybe we need some new eyes and new innovation at the top of Apple?
Yeah, I mean, it always takes them a couple years too long to figure that out, right? I mean, the guy that they hired, as you guys all remember, John Scully, was if I'm not mistaken, was a PepsiCo marketing, executive, and that was the skill set that 10 smart board members decided they needed. And will they get it right? Not very likely. I mean, the number of companies, here's the interesting thing about Apple. The number of companies that are purpose-built for one technological or economic era that survive and dominate the next one is so infinitesimally small. Apple's an example that came in during the first PC era and dominated, then fell apart, then came back in a later era. If you look at the chances that would happen a third time, probably not so great.
Dave, do you see any new Apples on the horizon? This is the area you're a lot closer than we are. Any up-and-comers that we should be thinking about?
You know what? I mean, I think that the cutting edge of information is not at the moment, device based, right? It's around it's application based. So if the answer is there a next platform that replaces it? I think it's much more likely that it gets sort of torn apart by the ankle biters of the LGs of the world who are producing. They're not really innovating, but they're producing less expensive, really interesting, good stuff. I think it's death by a thousand cuts.
Dave Maney, great to talk to you. Thank you so much for making yourself available to us. We appreciate it, Dave.
You bet, guys. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.